Hello everyone, welcome back to Apollo Art Analysis. Today we're going to be looking at a piece by, call him Imposter. It's underscore 1MOP $TER. And he is an artist that works with a bunch of different styles, but he mainly kind of stays within an inspiration of glitch art and a really great inspiration at that. So let's resize this a bit, and we're going to see what we can learn today. So, in our initial introduction, we're obviously met with this crystalline skull, right? And that is. There we go. Sorry about that. All right. So, in our initial introduction, we're met with this glowing skull. And this skull calls an immense amount of attention to itself, both through a center contrast, or a center emphasis, of course, the center placement, as well as the contrast of a light on dark in the spatial composition. So both of those really give this sense of rarity, this sense of luminescence, and of course the phenomenon of contrast, which emphasizes and accents the form of the skull every time. So this feels it's really really interesting because we're kind of looking at kind of like a cult type piece. So that's really incredible. Notice the shimmer all across here. It's not just kind of a completely clear form. You see this kind of purple reddish shimmer that is on each one. So the full one is actually a GIF of a rotating skull, and if you saw the piece, you'll know that. So I divided it into three perspectives, and it's just kind of endlessly rotating, just endlessly rotating, kind of like a display case. So that gives this unique sense of, I would say, collectability, but it's also that sense of immersion and that sense of kind of theatrics, which you would normally see in a museum as well. It feels like this could be some type of NFT collectible. It feels like you could kind of own this, put it inside of a glass box, and even have it, hovering. Imagine how cool that would look in 3D. So this is a really stunning piece. Part of it feels magical. It feels kind of like witchcraft. It feels, of course, cultish. And there's something really, really interesting here. And I think that's because of the translucent nature of it, but also the red coloring and that shimmer, which gives you kind of this small sense of divinity or small sense of light within the piece. So that cultish feeling is really what draws you in. It almost feels like we're looking at kind of like a 3D mapped Ouija board. And the skull, it isn't, perfectly. It's not perfectly, I guess, what would you say, curved or a traditional formed, but you'll see there's kind of this almost like a multi-faced die there, and that is really interesting. I think that's important to note whenever taking a look at this piece. So the form isn't, a perfect skull, but it has the distinct look of a skull, but it has kind of that die variations all across it as well. So that gives us this really interesting sense. I think that may also play into this sense of collectability as well, although it's hard to say with absolute certainty. So taking a look at the symbolism of the skull, we have always found the skull as a symbol of death, but also a symbol of mortality in general, because of course death defines mortality. So whenever we put the skull here, it feels dark and it feels very fatal. It feels magical, cultish, of course, and that is achieved through the symbolism of the skull at the end of the day. So that's really important to note whenever we're taking a look at this piece. If you see a piece that kind of has like a dark skull on a red backing or a red skull on a dark backing, such as this work, just keep in mind that the skull is a very archaic symbol of death, and it pops out all throughout history. So that's always important to note, especially when we're taking a look at such a cool piece such as this one. So we see that the original artist, Imposter, created this with this glitch aesthetic. Imposter always works with that glitch aesthetic, or almost always works with that, and that has come to define a lot of that artist's pieces, and it's incredibly amazing. Glitch art originated from us seeing a screen break or a malfunction within a virtual program, and we decided we wanted to replicate that. So instead of it causing fear, anxiety, and uncertainty from the hardware or software breaking, we have now mastered that into a controlled art form and a controlled art style and art movement. So glitch art, I think glitch art is bigger than it's ever been, and it just keeps growing. And Imposter in my personal opinion, is one of those really underrated artists. He's not some big established artist, but everyone should take a look at this artist, should take a look at Imposter's works. Just some incredible work coming from Imposter. And I think that artist is incredibly underrated. And that glitch art, comes out through a lot of that artist's different pieces. So I think that's important to note. Glitch art is just growing and growing. You're going to see glitch art more and more often. It's going to blend. We saw some early Kanye West adaptations in the 2000s. That was really interesting. But now we're seeing a much more matured type of glitch art, which is, for example, the piece that we see here. So we're going to take a look at the original artist profile real quick. So taking a look at Imposter's Instagram profile here, you see, once again, that stunning iconic glitch art style. Here are some of kind of crystalline, kind of gemstone type pieces. Here was a piece that we showcased from him a while ago. I believe it was, of course, it was in our first year, so it was a little while ago. This was the first piece we ever showcased from the artist Imposter. Imposter is also really active on Twitter, so you can, daily interactions with that. Imposter is really towards these kind of surreal, gemstone, translucent, but also glitch art textured forms. And it's absolutely incredible. You see kind of this scale, this kind of glitch scale art, which is just like, my God, and that's made up of each, small numbers and stuff. It's absolutely incredible what Imposter has been doing here. A bit of origami and really experimenting more and more with these different aesthetics, these different forms, these different environments. And it's been really incredible seeing how Imposter jumps around. So this piece, of course, has this really heavy purple and red aesthetic. But you see all of this artist's pieces are incredibly colorful. And I think that's really important to note whenever we're taking a look at this piece. So I hope you guys enjoyed. I hope you guys learned something. Go check out some of Imposter's other works. He also has a lot of NFTs minted if you want to support and own some of the work directly. That money goes straight to the artist, so it's always a really good way to support original artists directly. So check out some of Imposter's NFTs, check out some of the other art which Imposter has to offer. My name is Apollo, this was Apollo Art Analysis, and I'll see you guys on the next episode. We hope you enjoyed today's episode. If you'd like to support our work directly, please check out our Apollo community tokens. Apollo Art Exchange is an ecosystem of art appreciation which elevates artists each and every day. Thanks for listening.